We'll start off by walking through our observations of the Whirlpool Galaxy. Instead of scheduling new observations, we used two different sets of archival data from the Skynet system. Both sets were used taking the RRRT at Fan Mountain Observatory, but at different observing sessions. So the use of two sets of data gave us more access to a wider variety of filters and exposure conditions, allowing us to create a more detailed final image. To fully understand our datasets, we opened each stacked image in Afterglow and used the File Info panel to view the raw header data, something that we've done many times in our past blogs as well. From here, we were able to find the total exposure times for each of the filters after checking the sum EXP values for each. And from this, we were able to break down our observations. In the first dataset, the images were stacked from multiple exposures, from which we converted each exposure time from seconds into minutes. So here's what we found. The luminance filter had a total exposure time of 600 seconds, or 10 minutes. The red filter was 450 seconds, or 7.5 minutes. The green filter was 600 seconds, also 10 minutes. And finally, the blue filter had the longest exposure at 800 seconds, or about 13.3 minutes. So these longer exposure times allowed us to build a very detailed color image of the galaxy, as the signal to noise ratio is much better due to the longer stacked exposures. However, simply just using this data deprives us of any narrowband data. So, as a result, we chose to use a second set of data, which had the H-alpha filter, even though it had much shorter exposure times than the first. So in this way, though the quality wasn't necessarily as deep as it was in our first data set, the H-alpha filter gave us the ability to image areas of active star formation in the final image. So here's what we found for the second set. The luminance filter had a total exposure of 20 seconds, the red filter was 40 seconds, the blue filter was 80 seconds, the green filter was 60 seconds, and the H-alpha filter was 300 seconds, or 5 minutes. So after gathering all this information, we ultimately chose to use the first set as the foundation for our LRGB composite and layered in the H-alpha filter from the second set, making use of both broadband and narrowband data. So now that we have reviewed and confirmed our telescopes, our filters, and our exposure times, we're ready to move on to the next phase, the image processing phase, in order to build our color composite of the Whirlpool Galaxy.